Hello, and welcome to the Argyle AI Decision Maker Summit, Revolutionizing Business Strategy with AI. My name is Nick with Argyle, and it's great to have everyone joining us today. A couple of notes before I turn things over to our esteemed speaker. First, a quick reminder to stop by our sponsors' virtual booths at any time during today's event and for the following week. Our partners are committed to providing you with valuable content and a great overall experience. At any time during today's event, you can visit their virtual booths from the main agenda page, which include complimentary materials, information, and meet and greet opportunities. Throughout today's event, you will also have the opportunity to win one of several prizes. So be sure to check out the prizes and raffle rules tab of the interface to see how you can earn points. To ask questions throughout the session, simply type into the Q&A chat and we will address your questions at the end of the session. Now, without further delay, I would like to introduce our speaker, Ken Huang, Gen AI book author and EC Council Gen AI security instructor. We're super excited to have Ken with us for a keynote presentation titled Developing Secure LLM Applications Using Private Data. Welcome, Ken. Over to you.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Melissa, and thank you, Argyle, for the invite. Yeah, so my topic is developing secure LLM applications using private data. Little bit about myself. I have authored or edited 8 books on AI and Web3 published by Springer, Cambridge University, Wiley, and China Mission Press in the past. I also co-chair Cloud Security Alliance Safety Working Group, also is a co-author of the OWASP Top 10 for large language model applications. As Nick mentioned, I also am the instructor of EC Council on generative AI for cybersecurity. If you want to see the QR code, you can see all my books, 8 books in Amazon. The topic today is 5 topics. One is what is LLM. I'm not trying to redefine what is LLM. It's just trying to say its potential side, and a little bit about the application and also the architecture, design pattern, and the technology stacks. And my major focus will be on the security side of it. This is the main topic. So large language model is a new computing platform. We're coming from mainframe to PC to cloud to mobile, now to a new reasoning computing platform. This will generate the economic value far exceed the sum of all the previous computing platform. That I believe. The main reason is certainly it has the reasoning capabilities. It has the creation. You can see people talking about the AI generated content. In my book, Beyond AI, I actually argue for AI generated everything. X means anything, right? Including even the AI generated software as applications. So I think the SaaS vendor need to really make sure switch their new business because most enterprise eventually will generate their own SaaS platform for internal user as well as for consumer or B2B. That will happen very soon. And also large language model have the continuous learning capabilities, especially if it's using some of algorithm and using some of reward function with syntactic generated data. That's a potential, especially also with the agent that we will talk about a little bit. Emerging capability, some people say it's a mirage, but it's actually is a real capability. People like teach large language model in one domain, it's a kind of can understanding things in new domain. Like if large language model is never taught in terms of Persian language, it can suddenly understand the Persian language. So this is one example. There's many applications of large language model. In my book, which is published the end of last year by Springer, we talk about the use in government, in gig economy, in finance, also in the product management and also programming, and also other areas as well. Also, its integration with Web3, but the key thing we need to take away is all verticals will be impacted. Every applications will have the large language model as a backend. Of course, security is important because LLM can hallucinate. That is the main topic of today. But let's also indulge us a little bit in terms of what LLM currently already helping in our daily life. I think everyone using ChatGPT, Claude, or Bard, and now it's Gemini, Bing Chat, and now it's Copilot, Perplexity, and what else you use, right? There's a lot. And we also are in the interactive AI. So the phase one is chat AI. The second phase is interactive AI. We will see multimodal spatial computing, like Apple's Visual Pro. AI also will be with your phones and also your PC. Some people may already order the Copilot plus PC. There is also different form factor like AI Ping, Rabbit R1. They are not currently selling very well. People may not like the form factor there, and also because of the this is just starting, right? But eventually, the idea is it will become more interactive. And the phase three, especially this year, we see lots of innovation in humanoid robot. Figure AI, when to watch the video for like 10 minutes, it was able to cook the egg, like to have the omelette. There's other initiatives by Tesla, by General Dynamics, even Chinese company, the Unitree has a robot, can walk fast, can do the flip. So this is the next generation, but all this need a people like AI engineer to do the work. That's why I talking about the typical architecture design patterns AI engineer will use. So my prediction is in next few years, all software engineers has to become AI engineers. Otherwise, it will be eliminated, the job. Currently, I do see lots of bigger IT companies eliminating software engineer or developers jobs, and these people have to know how to do the AI engineer. So I published this book, which is 500 pages, 10 chapters, dive deep into different design patterns, code examples, and actual application development. If you're interested, you can take a look. But the design pattern including the prompt engineering only. So you have to using some advanced prompt engineer techniques to instruct the application. But behind the scene, you can have a large language model by Claude of OpenAI. I call this as Thin app, THIN, Thin app. It's a wrap on the model. And majority of application is developed using retrieval augmented generation or RAG, also plus the prompt engineer. So retrieval augmented generation usually using a vector database, sometimes also using the API calls to get the latest information. The idea is to reduce hallucination by larger language model, because the larger language model is certainly non-deterministic. It's using statistic, right? Transformer model, so it may predict or the next word, which is not factual. So retrieval augmented generation trying to ground the model to produce truth. And prompt engineer also can be integrated with RAG and also with fine-tuning. Fine-tuning is when you think the model itself need the domain adaptation for, like if you have a Llama 3, which is a general purpose model. If you want to adapt it to cybersecurity or adapt to healthcare, you can train your own data set. And you can using multiple model as well. People actually using the so-called mixture of expert to leverage different model in different domain to produce a better result. And you can also build your own large language model from scratch. That's if you have capital. Some actually startup like Claude and OpenAI, they do have this, right? Anthropic. Nowadays, it's very popular with agentic AI workflow using AI agent, especially the multiple agent. Basically, one agent do the work or do the code. Another agent trying to criticize what the agent did, and in terms of the functionality and also in terms of security. And then you have the manager model to do the arbitration. Eventually, the whole workflow make the large language model work better than just a single agent. So these are all this topic more is covered in this book. Today's conversation is more on the security, so I will not go too deep into it. But the prompt engineer have some of the basic best practice. First, you have to specify a role for in system prompt. If you code in the system prompt, you also have to specify the system message, and you give the user instruction. And usually, if you give a few examples, which is called a few shot examples, the model perform better than just zero shot. And the context is where the retrieval augmented generation or RAG come in, right? With the vector database or with API, even with your SQL database data to enrich the prompt. So the large language model can be more grounded to the fact. And the query is what your application facing the user. So user can put their input, right? All the previous is all can be in the system message. And then you can limit the output by the formatting using JSON, for example. And you also can put some constraints in terms of how big is the response in terms of size or length it could be. And you can also tweak the temperature and max token, top K, top P. We talk about this in the book. But yeah, this is the prompt engineering, the basic best practice that you can use. You can fine-tune it, especially to adapt to specific domains and also to boost the performance of the model and also to reduce the model biases, right? It's usually, in this case, you're using your own private data. You have to prepare your data and clean it. This actually, we talk about that in the book, the AI engineer book. How do you do this fine-tuning with the actual code, all right? But usually you have to understand the concept of low-level adapter or low-rank adapter. Actually, it's free some of the parameters, and then to have some low-rank adapters that you can train. That is to reduce your training time, also your memory requirement. And QLoRa is really put the quantization on top of low-rank adapter. So this is to reduce the memory footprint. So lots of open source model has this already like 7 billion parameters, right? It's already like quantized. You will hear this a lot if you're fine tuning it. You also can use a multiple model, like for as a mixture of expert, right? It's also good for security and also for the cost mediation. GPT-4o is more expensive, maybe for GPT-3, right? So, but the response you need to get may not have to have GPT-4o. Maybe GPT-3 is good enough. Right. So this is a cost mediation. And also response time. GPT-3 is much faster than GPT-4 Pro, right? So, and also in terms of some of the security, some of small model, because it has a less parameter, maybe has a less fine tuning, because it's a little bit easier to train on security. Maybe you want to use in your in-house small model, which is domain specific, so you can tail it down. So this is also using multimodal. Some enterprise use it for their applications. Of course, if like InBue, IMBUE, it's a startup. They have a lot of money from the VC. They can fine tune their own model, right? But if you are small, medium enterprise, you may not be able to teach your model from scratch, right? But this is also possible for some startup if the capital is there. And agentic AI workflow, it using the reflection. Basically, it look at what its action is, what the feedback is, and it can change the course of next step, right? So there is some research paper, but people already use it. Tool use is a AI workflow. It's also sometimes you hear it called action. Action is really uses a tool, or some tools like search API. Some tool is called some mathematical formula. Some tool may cause a vector database, right? And then you have planning. Planning is really mostly using chain of thought prompting, or sometimes using React reasoning and act framework, right? And then you have multiple agent collaboration. The Microsoft AutoGen, the Baby AGI, even the LangGraph by Lanqing is currently working on the agent and the multiple agent. Also, Clue AI. In the AI engineer book, we have very detailed discussion on the multiple agent collaborations. If you're interested, dive deep. That's certainly, I think, AI engineers must have tool for the future AI LLM application development using your own data. And agency and autonomy, this is really important for robot, right? But it may be not as important for your business workflow. You do need a human in the loop. Robotics application may need a little bit more autonomy, agency, right? That's why robotic development is a little bit slow, but it's for the reason, right? You don't want it to be too many autonomy, then it could potentially have the damage, right? And the technology stack, usually the bigger ones, Azure, lots of people, our customer using Azure AI. Google Vertex is also, they're changing name a lot, all right? They're using Gemini and Palm API, but I think now they kind of more on the naming for Vertex. Amazon Bedrock also has lots of foundation model. It's using its RAG is Amazon Q. And if you want to open source, like don't want to pay this cloud providers or hyperscalers, you can using LangChain, AutoGPT, AutoGen. This is open source version. So there is this technology stack, what is called OPL is OpenAI as the backend, Pinecone as your vector database, then you're using LangChain to orchestrate your workflow. And then another one is popular is called the OPCL, open source large language model using Hugging Face Transformer, and then using Chroma, which actually the difference between Chroma and the Pinecone is the Chroma can install locally, so you don't need to go through the cloud. So if you want to do something quick, you can use the OPCL, right? And the LangChain is also free to use, open source. So now let's focus on the security. Yeah, security, I think, is in everyone's top of mind when you develop large language model applications, especially using your own enterprise private data, or if you have a hobby using your own data in your own private life, you also have the same concern, right? In this book, the Generative AI Security book, we talk about the emerging threat and vulnerabilities. One is shadow AI. The enterprise certainly exists. There's a shadow AI because shadow IT already exists. It never eliminated. The shadow AI is basically when the enterprise prohibit you use AI for your work, and some people actually use it or even develop applications because there's business needs. So it's not managed by IT or by the security operation centers. People still use. That's real, but the problem with shadow IT is the difference is AI, especially generative AI, is non-deterministic. It can hallucinate, and also it is easy to build a large language model application using your own data. There's all framework that we talk about in the AI engineers book. So that's really easy to develop. And so you will see the proliferation of shadow AI. That's why in this book we talk about that. We talk about how you design the security program to deal with shadow AI. And another one is the automated and scalable threat and the zero-day vulnerabilities. That's real, actually. People already design some agent to do the work for you. It can read the threat report from like CVE or CWE, and then it can design some of the vulnerabilities, right? Or even create a new vulnerability. So to attack your system. Entitlement policy issue, that is real. Like if you previously you have identity access management in your data, and some of a policy may be not reviewed for a while, it's maybe some holes or security access control violation exists, it will be amplified using large language model, because if you ingest your vector database or you're training your LLM with that data, that entitlement policy will be violated. We actually propose this for OWASP top 10 as one of potential top 10 for version 2.0. It's can be real, especially like if you're using Copilot for your work or using Vertex for your workspace. Eventually, you can see the entitlement. It's maybe you are able to see the HR data or salary data of other people that you don't have the privilege to see, right? So that's going to be an issue. And there's a way to deal with it. We will talk about this. And the security tool integration issue. So we have the generative AI powered tools that we talk about in this book, in the last chapter. And those tools still is not mainstream yet. So it has some issue to integrate with so yeah, I will go on for 3 more minutes, then we finish. So yeah, and then you have emergency malicious code, and then the data leak. I will share this slide with all you guys, but yeah, there is some of the control measures I suggest, the shadow AI and entitlement policy. So quickly skim through it. OWASP top 10 has a prompt injection, insecure output, training data poisoning, etc. And currently, the Cloud Security Alliance AI Control Working Group identifies 6 categories of the threat and is analyzing it, and also suggests some of the security controls on top of this. This is some of the suggestions we have. And we also say that it's very important that your current security program in your enterprise is outdated because of generative AI. So you need to redefine the policies. There's different angles to redefine it. It's in my book as well, and also security process and procedures. How do you define this? And also we propose some of the checklist, like you make sure you don't have the PHI data in the prompt or in training data. If you do have, you have this, you can use in differential privacy. NIST actually has a document out for this, and you have to secure data and model using like a trusted execution environment. And of course, access control to your vector database and model, and you have to enforce API security because vector database, LLM, all has their the APIs, right? And then you have to make sure the that bias is reduced, and you can, in the output, you can never trust the output from large language model. So you always have to validate, and using some guardrails. I posted some links there. And you also have to do the red teaming. And there is a new term called large ML SecOps that I think you guys can focus. So in summary, we talk about what is the large language model and the application of it. And then we mostly focus on the threat. With that, I back to Nick if there's any questions.
Okay, great. Yeah, here's a question from the audience, Ken. How do you envision the role of private enterprise data in enhancing the accuracy and relevance of LLM generated outputs for specific downstream applications?
So the question, let me try to rephrase the question. So the enterprise has their own private data. How do you make sure to adapt this for your application? Is that the question?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Yeah, I think there is like normalization, cleaning, and also one thing, some of security controls that I propose is make sure the data you get has a consent, right? If the data, especially from your consumer, from your customer, if there's no consent, there may have some legal consequence. And then you make sure there is a privacy aspect of it, using differential privacy, even using homomorphic encryption or zero knowledge proof. That's also some of the new privacy or confidential computing technology that you can use for your enterprise applications. Back to you.
Great. Okay, let's try to get in one more question. What are the different metrics that can be used to evaluate LLM?
Yeah, so the most commonly used is called the massive multi MMLU, right? Matrix. But for RAG, there is also different models. There is no like one size fit all. It's really some are domain specific, some are multiple purpose or massive multiple purpose models. That's open source. Like in Hugging Face, you can see a lot of data set and the benchmark. But for other domain, some you need to design yourself. There's no like one size fit all. We did a red teaming effort for a AI educational software company. We have to actually design the new data set for that, for testing.
Great. And I think we can spare a minute for this question. Do LLMs have any setbacks?
Yeah, large language model like can hallucinate. It's one setback, and also it can overfitting. Right, if you're using, it's a kind of same as like a different model, the traditional machine learning model. Like if you're training using the similar set of data, then it's overfitting, then the performance will degrade. Yeah, these are two kind of setbacks. That means that you do need monitoring. That's in the AI engineer book. Certainly, I talk all this about that in terms of the previously the benchmarking for LLM and also for the RAG, and also how do you monitor the setbacks of LLM. So yeah, I encourage you grab a copy. It's free actually if you have a Kindle's unlimited version.
Great. And thank you so much, Ken, for such an incredible keynote. And I want to thank everyone else for joining us today. This session, along with all of today's content, will be available on demand following the event. For those of you who earned points throughout today's event, an Argyle team member will be following up with the winners in the next couple of weeks. This officially concludes the Argyle AI Decision Maker Summit. Thank you again for joining us today and engaging in our content. We look forward to seeing you at our next Argyle Digital Information Technology event soon, which will be our CISO Leadership Forum, Innovate, Adapt, Excel, on June 27th, 2024. Have a great rest of your day.